What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be taking a look at both of the Naruto Chrono Clash decks. We're opening the pair of them because what we're going to do? Only open one of them? Yeah, that sounds a lot less fun. Now, full disclosure, at the start of the video, these were provided by the lovely folks over at Bandai Namco. They are the same company, even though it only says Bandai on the box. They did send them to me so that I could do an opening review, get to know the game, etc. Huge thank you to those chaps, and a particular man with whom I was corresponding. He is awesome. Now, I know it looks like I've already opened one deck, and I have, but I needed to check something for my intro video I did yesterday, day before. Depends when I upload it. Incidentally, I have done a video introducing the Chrono Clash game, so, you know, go check it out. Now, to be clear, this is not a trading card game. This is a deck building game, an expandable card game you could call it. What that means is we know what we're getting. Alright? You get the same cards in every single one. Now, because the folks at Bandai are lovely, they did send me the special edition that has 2 tournament packs in. So we are at least going to be able to open them and see what we get. Now, that doesn't mean it's not fun to have a look, but do know that if you buy this box, you will get the same thing that I'm getting. Now, what is awesome, though potentially slightly over the top, you do get a pair of playmats. Now, they are glossy paper, the kind you'd find in a magazine. It's got everything you need, but to be clear, it's, you know, they're not heavy duty, but then again, for the price you wouldn't expect them to be. What you also get is the rules in English, in French, in Italian, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and in German. Though if you buy it outside of Europe, you might not get quite so many languages. I'm not sure about that. But you get the rules in a whole bunch of languages, if that's what you're into. So, we have our couple of little tournament packs here. I did have to open one to inform the video yesterday, but we'll still open it and see what we got. We have both of our decks, and we have our extra decks, which are weirdly glued down. So the extra deck cards, you'll notice, are quite large. For a little bit of perspective and scale, though I don't have any up here with me at the moment, they are the same size as the Transformers character cards. So if you've got some sleeves and, well, you probably won't need top loaders to be honest, but if you've got any sleeves hanging around from Transformers, you will be able to, well, you'll be able to play around with them, shall we say. They are the right size. Now, in terms of the extra cards, these are limited to 1 per deck. So we did talk about the extra deck. The next video we do for this, incidentally, is going to be a learn to play. So with these extra cards, they are large size cards, but they are limited to 1 of each per extra deck. So we're expecting to have 1 of each in the deck. That would make sense. Now, incidentally, the minimum number of extra cards you can have a deck is 6. You can have more. And what we see here is 12 extra cards, 1 of each type. Here is for one deck, here is for the other deck. And that makes perfect sense to me, ladies and gentlemen. That seems alright by me. Don't get any doubles, don't need any doubles here, because, well, they're extra cards. They are limited to 1, so you only need 1. I like that they are bigger. That's kind of cool. It makes sense in the context of, you know, having an extra deck, being able to differentiate it from your main deck. Because look, I've played a bunch of card games. I'm sure a bunch of you have as well. I mean, if you're liking this channel and watching this channel, you probably have. And the reality is, right, that if you had them at the same size, you know that you would be shuffling them into your main deck the same as I would. So, I am wondering here if there is anything which will help us split this evenly into 2. Because there are 2 decks in here. Oh, there we are. There is, oh, that's cool. I like this. Oh, this is beautiful. So, what we've got here is a really cool card that actually shows the Chrono Clash gauge. Now, I did talk about this in my video yesterday, but long story short, the main resource in this game is time. So if you start on 8, you can do whatever you want. So this is a 5-cost character, so you've got to pay 5 time in order to actually play it. So that's cool. And on the back, you have not all of, but the main symbols, because the other cool thing about this game is that it's language free, which means there's no reading to be done. All of the card effects are actually shown by symbols on the bottom of the card. So no matter what language you're playing in, you're fine. I like that. That's going to be a really handy resource, especially for newer players. Now, the other thing is that the maximum number of each card you can have in your deck is free. So one of the main things I'm looking at here is, am I getting a playset of all of these cards? So I'm counting them out here. If there are any cards you don't have a playset of, I will bring them to your attention. Oh, now, we've only got 2 of the Shikamaru Nara. Now, that means that if you buy this deck, and we've only got 2 Kakashi Hatake, that's not great. Because remember, you can play free, but there's no booster packs coming on here, ladies and gentlemen. What we have is you buy this deck, you play with this deck, that's what you get. Oh, we are severely running out of room here. And we got free Rock Lee. Okay, so let's get rid of this card for a minute. We don't necessarily need that right now. So here we go. We have these 4 cards. There are only 2 copies. Now, I did explain in my intro video yesterday that you have 50 card decks, and there are 18 different cards, and you're limited to 3 of each per deck. Well, if they gave us 3 of each of the 18, that would lead to 54 cards. That wouldn't work. And you can see that there are 4 where we only have 1 of. Now, interestingly enough, these are the most expensive cards. The only 2 7 cost, the only 10 cost. Having said that, this is a 5 cost. But it seems like, I mean, you know, this gives all of your other characters +2 power when battling. So to have an example of the symbols here, all of your cards gain when they're battling +2. And then you can return a chosen card to your hand, or is it? No, you tap a chosen card. So that seems a bit more powerful than some of the other cards. Does that mean they've just given us only 2 of all the most powerful cards? That would make me slightly apprehensive, if I'm honest with you. Because as it stands, if I want to make a deck, right, then I've got play sets of all of these 14 cards, but I don't have play sets of these, so I would either have to try and find someone to trade with, open them in my tournament packs, because I believe you can get all the cards in the set in the tournament packs, or I would have to buy another box to get them. Okay. So that's one of the decks. Now, what we're not going to do in this video is go through every single one of the cards in excruciating detail, because we would be here for an extremely long time. I will, of course, as is my remit, I will almost certainly be making videos about the best cards, the best strategies. I will do some videos where we're really digging into the cards here. But that's not something we've got time to do in today's video. So if we run into the other deck, then we got 3 copies there, 3 copies there, 3 copies there. And we're expecting again to find that there are a couple of cards for... No, there we go. So, Sasuke Uchiha, and Mighty Guy, or Might Guy, we've only got 2. Then we're back to 3 of each. And presumably there's going to be another one in a moment, or another couple, where we don't have play sets. So there's a play set of him, play set of him. But then we've got 2 Daidara and 2 Hikuru. Now, what's weird is they're not necessarily the most expensive cards here. Now, let me just double check something very quickly, because I believe we also get extra decks. Okay, cool. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Okay, right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on it. I am on it. So what we have is, at the end, we have 12 extra cards. And you'll see here that now we do have our third copy of Mighty Guy, or Might Guy. We have our third copy of Daidara. We've got our third copy of Hikaru. And we've got our third copy of there. As well as the 4 from the other deck. Awesome. So, I was going to say, that would have been bad. That would have made me a little bit sad, but that's not the case, ladies and gentlemen. So we are given, essentially, they've made us a 50-card deck. And what you have here is extra cards. And the extra cards bring up the playset. So what essentially they've done is made an editorial decision where they go, right, you're only having 2 copies of each of these 4 in your deck. However, you can have an extra card there. Okay, so I'm in at this stage. I'm loving this. What you actually have is a playset of every card. Now, you can still get them in the tournament packs. You can get holo versions of them. But what that means is any card you want to put in a deck, you've got a playset, and you're never going to need to have more than a playset, frankly. So that's cool. And again, we've got a couple other of these cards in here as well. Okay. So that's cool. So in the deck then, you get your 2 decks of 50 cards. You get a couple of these marker cards. You get the extra cards that bring you up to a playset of everything. And then you get your 12 extra cards. Okay, I need to stop saying extra because that's going to get confusing. These are additional cards given, so you've got playsets, and these are extra cards that go into your extra deck. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. So, okay. I'm really liking that. I love the fact that we do have all of... Just grab the second deck here. I love that we've got everything that we need. What I wouldn't want in a situation like this is to end up going, oh man, I've got almost everything that I need, but now I've got to go and buy a second box, do some trading, etc. in order to actually have everything. That would make me really sad. Incidentally, and I've not got any gameplay up yet of this, and I'm not doing a proper review of it yet, but what I would say to you is, my official recommendation, if you're interested in the game, pick up one of these decks. In the UK, they're costing like 30 quid, right? They're about what you would pay for somewhere in the region of a third of a booster box. And it's basically got all the things that you need. So there's a couple more tournament packs. We'll open them at the end. And they've basically got everything that you need to set yourself up to play. 2 decks ready to go. So you can either play with one person and have half the cards each, or you can set it up so that you're, making a bigger deck and actually getting the deck building in. Because obviously if all you do is take the initial deck, you'll still have the additional cards that you can use, but there's not going to be a huge amount of deck building going on here. Now I believe, if I remember correctly, these are essentially different cards. So these are not the same extra cards you're going to be getting in the other deck. Remember that these are limited to 1 per deck, and they've got to be in your extra deck. You can see here that they do have a little E down there to denote them as extra cards. Can you see that nice and clearly? I don't know if you can. I think it's a bit too close. There is an E down in this bottom corner anyway. It denotes them as extra cards, but also the size. And they have said that if you want to play an extra deck, you don't have to play an extra deck, hence the extra. All the cards have to be the same size. Because how would you possibly, otherwise your extra deck might be 6 cards, but if you've got 1 oversized and 6 regular size all the other way round, you will very quickly find out that, you'll know exactly where all the stuff is, and that would be inconvenient, I think would be the way to put it. So, let's have a look what we've got in here. And I know at this stage it's not going to make a huge amount of sense. I'm going to show you the cards nice and quickly. But obviously at this stage, the game is so new, there is no meta or anything like that. So unless we sit down and actually properly go through all of the cards in the set and give a nice little analysis, we're not going to be able to go through every card in a huge amount of detail. So once again, there are 4 cards where we're not going to have a playset, but unless something's gone really strange. Oh, where are we going? I've missed something. There we go. Unless something's gone really strange, in the additional cards, we are going to get an extra copy of each of these 4. In fact, let's not even wait till the end. Let's have a little bit of a look. So, there's that dude. There's her. Oh, where are we going? There's her. There's Pain. And there is Itachi. So we do have playsets of all of those cards when we build in the extra as well. That makes me kind of happy. Gonna be honest with you. I am quite alright with that, ladies and gentlemen. Like I've said, with a deck building game like this, one of the advantages of playing these kind of games is that you buy a box, you're done. You buy a box and you've got all the cards. I mean, with Naruto, okay, I'll give you this. You do need to buy both the decks, which still should be cheaper than something like a booster box. And once you've done that, you've essentially got all of the cards. Although, personally, I'm not a huge Naruto fan. It's never really appealed to me that much as a property. But the second lot of decks, which are coming in September, are going to be Godzilla decks. Although I've heard, somebody posted on the video, well, yesterday as I record this, that with Godzilla, you're actually going to get 4 decks within the box, rather than having 2 boxes, each of which gives you 2 decks. It's much of a muchness. I've got an obsessive personality. I'll be getting all of these anyway. So once again, we've got 4 cards where we don't have a playset in the deck. But there's one. There's one. There's one. And there's one. So we do have the playsets of everything that we need here. Cool. So essentially, in these boxes, you get a playset of every Naruto card. And when I say playset, I mean playset. So if we look at the extra cards, you're only getting 1 of each of the 12, but a playset in a deck is 1. So even though you're only getting 1 of each of them, you do essentially have a playset. Cool. I'm liking this. It means that you've got all the deck building tools you need right out of the box. Now, some people could argue, well, isn't that going to potentially lead to things being a little bit more stale? Arguably. But remember, that's only for set 1. Time we get to December or September, we're going to have Godzilla. And I have no inside information here. But one would assume that if we're getting one set in June, and one set in September, then we're going to get a set in December, a set in March, and then another set in June. So essentially every 3 months, we're going to be getting another little set of decks. Now, you will notice that the cards have different backs here, but that's because you're limited to particular colours and you have to sleeve them and all of that jazz. So, we're opening up all of these ones. What we're doing for the time being is just opening them up, and then we'll have a look at the ones we get. So these are the tournament packs. You get 2 in the early versions of the decks. You get 2 in each deck. And then if you go to tournaments, you get them for entering and get them as extra prizes. Now, to be fair, on the website at the moment, unfortunately, they only have tournaments listed in the US. If they would be kind enough to bring tournaments over here, over to the UK, I'd go find one. Now, I've done a silly, ladies and gentlemen. I know what the different card backs are. This is an extra card. This is a regular card. Ah. So it appears that we can actually have extra cards as holo cards. So we've got Sasuke Susanoo, I believe. And if we have a quick look through our extra cards here, I think we're going to find... There we go. So we can actually have no. That's not the same card. That is the same... It's the same character, but it's not the same card. There we go. That's the same card. So what we actually have here is a regular size foil reprint of an oversized extra card, Remember, your extra deck has to be all the same size, so I wouldn't be able to, for instance, just play these 5 cards here. With the tiny version of that, I would not be allowed to do so. Does that mean there's going to be a secondary market for extra cards? Where everybody's going to try and get the little foil versions of their bigger cards? Maybe. That's going to be a very interesting question to answer as we go through. We've also got ourselves Shikadai Nara. We've got ourselves Hiruko. And we've got ourselves Gara. And I believe these are, again, just foil versions of cards which are already in the set. So, if we take a very quick pause, we can in fact see that all of these cards are in the deck. So these 3, I've just grabbed out the decks. These are the foil versions that I just went and opened up from my tournament packs. There we go, there's the foil. And obviously I've just shown you the extra card. I'm really interested by the idea, although there is a little ding. It literally was a little bit dinged coming out. It's a little bit sad. But it does seem to me kind of interesting that you can get these oversized extra cards as regular sized foil cards. There is surely going to be a secondary market for cards like this. Maybe I'm wrong, who knows. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's both of the decks. That's what's in them. That's what you need to know, quite frankly. I like this. I'm really excited about this, if I'm honest with you. This game's an awful lot of fun. I'm going to be bringing you a how to play video in the next couple of days. I am going to be also, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be showing you some gameplay. I'm going to record some gameplay and I'm going to show it to you on this channel. So come back in, tell me what you think about this. I don't know if we're going to cover this in the same detail as some of our TCGs because I don't know if that's needed. But certainly, I'm going to be showing you more about this game as we go forward. So if there's any questions you want answered, any videos you want me to make, chuck a comment down below, and I will get to it as soon as I can. For now, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, and of course, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.